Yeah, we've started. Podcast going. If anyone hears any children screaming in my audio, don't look into that, okay? Don't look into it. Shut up! Shut up down there! Okay, that's the end of that bit. That's just a stupid joke. Anyway, how are you doing, Judd?
I thought there was actually just some kids, and then I couldn't hear them.
No, I just heard some kids screaming outside the window and thought if that is picked up on the audio, I can make a stupid joke about it.
I see.
But yeah, that's about that. Coming up in today's podcast, Halloween, it's soon. We do our regular segments, which are pretty fun. If you've not heard them before, you should hear them. We went to see the Dune movie, and we're going to talk about that. There's more boxing stuff to tell you about. We went to a music festival, or I did. I went to a festival in our town. I've played a new video game. Going to tell you about it, and we're going to fuck around with some other bits if we have time. But yeah, first of all, Judd, what have you been up to? Tell me about something.
I went to a gig. I went to see a band.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I actually did. Guys, listeners, I actually did something this week apart from just gonna work.
So I know all those that were placing their bets. Else. They were placing their bets on that you haven't, but this time, the people who placed the other way around, they're the ones who can cash the check.
It has come up red. Red being that I went to see Skindred. Who are like a fusion of metal and reggae, and you'd think that'd be terrible, but it's all right. It's pretty good.
You might even call it Megay.
Megay.
That's a niche little Drake and Josh reference
more
for you.
Smeggy, because of smegma. They were good. They did good.
What was it like? Was it your typical sort of metal that people think, as in they were all dressed in full black, long hair, like, or was it?
Yeah.
Because I know you've been to see. Is it Necrogoblicon before?
Yeah. I've seen Necrogoblicon. So it's because the two metal gigs that I've been to both have a very sort of like fun atmosphere, like. Necrogoblicon, they've got like a little goblin guy running about, and you know they have a lot of stuff like accordions and stuff in the songs. Skindred are obviously like, you know, they have a lot of reggae sort of themes in their like metal songs, like the breakdown. They've still got breakdowns and everything, so they're still like heavy metal, but you know they have these fun sort of reggae elements in them. So it's hard to compare that to say a Slipknot concert, because a Slipknot concert doesn't really have this sort of like fun, sort of like, yeah, you know, this is cool sort of thing. This has more like a fucking Slipknot, and you know, like
the ones that you've seen are one of those that have like another fun, different kind of quirky element. Like I went to see, they just happened to be on at a folk festival I was at. There was this band that's like pirate themed, and it's folk but a little bit of metal. That's kind of what it was.
It wasn't Ailstorm, was it? Surely to God.
No, it was mostly pirate themed folk with a little bit of metal influence.
That does sound like Ailstorm, but
maybe it was. I don't remember.
And Ailstorm are pretty big. I don't know. How big was this thing you were at?
Well, it was Whitby Folk Festival, and they weren't playing a massive room. There might have been 100 people at most in this.
Oh no, maybe not then. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so the ones I don't know. I'll be able to tell you more clearly like next year, because next year I'm going to Download, which is I'm going to be seeing lots of different types of metal there.
That's been a long time coming. You've had tickets for that for ages.
Yeah, it's got cancelled twice.
It's going to be incredible because it's Judd's first ever festival, and honestly, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Like, I'm kind of worried either for you or for the festival. One of those. I don't know which one.
I can actually see myself dying at this festival. Like, I can actually quite clearly see myself.
Maybe we should do a funeral podcast for you before you go, just to preempt that. And
maybe.
Anyway, but where is it? Where is Download?
I think it's near Nottingham.
Oh, so it's somewhere in the middle of Englandish.
Download.
I didn't know whether that one was the one that's like on an island or something like that.
Donington Park Circuit.
Whatever. I don't care. It's going to be interesting. Who are you going with to that festival?
I'm going with Sam and a couple of his friends. Well, our friends.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
You need to pace yourself with them. Because you're going to be... No, it's like, seriously, this is what I'm going to say to you. You need to pace yourself with them, because if you do that, you'll be absolutely fucked up. You see what I'm saying here?
I don't actually want to do much there, to be honest. I'm going to focus more on going to, like, see stuff. Because I actually want to, like, get through it to see bands.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get, like, fucked up any of the days, it'll probably be, like, the last day. So it'll still be awful.
It means like, getting home's fucking dreadful. Honestly, what I've discovered, I used to kind of, when I was younger, think going to a festival was really fun to get drunk and that. But honestly, even remembering back to festivals I've been to where I was thinking that, I've realised I didn't get that drunk. And it's kind of a culture, especially when I went to Leeds Fest, to get like destroyed at these festivals and like, you know, watch music acts while you're massively fucked up. But having been to quite a few festivals and having been to Leeds Fest, which has got potentially one of the biggest reputations for being a fuck fest. I don't mean that in a sexual way. I mean as in it's just fucked up. We were there 3 nights, I think. And I didn't want to drink 2 out of those nights. Like, we got a little bit wavy on the first night, but no means drunk. We could easily remember everything. And then next couple nights, we just thought, I don't want to get drunk. And it sounds like the boring thing, but I promise you, it's the opposite. It's much more interesting and fun when you're just enjoying this music, rather than like caring about the alcohol, especially when you're at a festival, because I was thinking, we've got like a decent spot in, like fairly far up in crowd here. If I'd have been drinking and got hammered, I don't know what the fuck I'd do with trying to get to the toilet. I'd be absolutely fucked. There'd be no chance. And then I'd have to get all the way through crowd, I'd miss half at set, and then I'd be right at back when I rejoin set. It's just not worth it. I promise you. It's not worth getting really drunk at a festival. Just do a shit ton of drugs instead. No, that's a joke. Don't really. It's just a joke. Don't do any drugs is my advice.
No,
and I'm not even doing a wink to say maybe you should. No, don't.
Well, I can't see you regardless, so... When I went to go see Skindred, I actually didn't get too drunk. I had a few drinks, so I was a bit tipsy, but I just, because you want to see the band, you've paid to see the band, so.
And that's the thing. I think it's the toilet that does me, because like you're not going to be able to spend a whole festival without going to the toilet, even if you've not drunk at all. You're going to have to go to the toilet at some point. So, like, even if it, like, at least once a day, even if it's just to go to, you know, have a piss. So, I kind of think, you know what we're like, especially once we start drinking, it's like, we're pissing all night. It's awful. It's just not even worth doing. But, yeah. There you go. Speaking of festivals, then, I may as well tell you a bit about Barnsley Live, which is my favourite night of the year, every year, pretty much. And I'm not going to harp on too much. I'll tell you what it is and then tell you why it was particularly more interesting this time. It's basically the town we live in. It's quite a big town. Don't bother coming to Barnsley to try and find us because it's like bigger than most cities. It's just not got, well, whatever. And we live in Barnsley and they have... a free festival every year right in the town centre, and it's basically loads of venues, loads of pubs in the town centre have music acts on like all day from like 11 a.m. while I think technically the last act is on at 8:30, but certain pubs book like a DJ or an act or something to be their final act while like midnight. So It's normally the best night of the year, and for many, many years, I've played Barnsley Live, and I love it, and it's fantastic. It's the second time I've not played, and I'm more than happy to not be playing, because I've been doing boxing. I wouldn't even have time to do music nowadays, and I've kind of fallen out of music a bit. But my point being, it's fantastic. I love it. It's got all my favourite bars, and because I spent years and years kind of doing music in Barnsley, I end up bumping into like loads of people that I know, which is really weird because like I feel like I'm kind of like a loner, and I don't really have many friends. As in, when we went to see the Dune movie, I had 4 tickets, because I'd already booked them, and my friend said he couldn't come, and I was like, right. Well, that was all the people I know. But when I get to Barnsley Live, it's like, oh, I know that. Hello, I know you. Hi, and I bump into loads of people. If we go on a night out around the town centre, me and Judd, normally Judd will bump into like 5 or so people he knows somehow. I don't know how that works, but on Barnsley Live it flip flops, and I just know everyone somehow. It's weird. It's great. It's a lot of fun. But this year, it was the first one back since COVID. A couple changes because of that. One, obviously, last year it was skipped. And the year before was 2019. No, it was done in 2019. 2020 was skipped. 2021 it's been back. But the weird thing is, it's normally in summer, so people are like, it's quite warm weather when you're going between the bars, things like that. But this time it's been in winter because it was in October. So that was a bit of a weird one. And also, I think because it's been first one back since COVID, not a lot of bands who I would normally see or like singers and things that I'd normally see there playing there were actually on. So I didn't know quite as many bands there, which was a little bit odd. It was a little bit of an odd feeling for me, which... I don't know. It was weird. It made me feel more like a normie, more like a typical attendee of the festine, which was weird. It made me think, God, this must be a little bit weird for people who just come to this and be like, well, I don't know who this person is, but I guess I'm listening to them. The last thing was I wasn't drinking because I'm not drinking until I've fought. Also, I might have caught COVID from it too. Apparently, no.
And he's in tip-top shape as well.
So yeah, and that was really weird because normally what happens is I'll have at least a pint of beer at every act we see. And we might see like 12 acts throughout the day because it's from 11 a.m. while like 8. So I'll get in at 11, watch that act. I might watch one at half 11 because it's every half an hour. And then I'll have lunch sometime between 12 and 1, depending on who's on. And then I'll start drinking. And that'll be that until fucking 2 a.m. So, in fact, do you remember that one Barnsley Live when you came as well? And I played a set like earlier on, and it went really well. Went fucking brilliantly. I had loads of people there. People were singing along. It went fantastic. So I got on my high horse with my big bollocks, and I thought I was the shit. So I was drinking loads, and I'd just been paid as well from work. And do you remember? I ended up booking out the private room in the only strip club in the town centre.
I remember.
It was shit. This is a shitty place that's since shut down. It's not even there anymore. And we booked it, and it was just me and you. This room is supposed to be for like 10 people.
Yeah.
It was just me and Judd. There was no one else in the whole place because it was the festival.
It was so gross.
Well, do you remember what you did when we were in there? I don't know if you want me to say this. Is this too sleazy to say on the podcast?
No,
or do you want to say it? Go for it then.
One of my best moments. So
we got free drinks, by the way, when we were in there. So first of all, I get a call from Jake, my good buddy Jake, and I'm like, "Hey Jake, what's the haps, cat?" And he says to me, "Jordan, listen, I've booked us both for VIP." This is not how it went. We were already both smashed and had been
No. You weren't. You called me. I remember you calling me because I was out with other people.
No, you weren't. You weren't. You definitely weren't. I'm doing this. I'm going to tell it instead because you're being fucking stupid.
All right.
What happened was we'd gone round and you were going to be meeting someone at some point. You were going to be meeting your friends essentially while we were out. But I booked this room and we were in there maybe half an hour, and then and you went, I'm gonna go meet Tom, my mate. And I was thinking, what the fuck? I've just spent. This was £500, by the way. I should not have spent. I was thinking, John, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Just tell him to come here. This room's supposed to be for so many people. Just tell him to come here.
Because me and Tom had already had plans for that night. And I remember telling you, I said, look, me and Tom are doing shit tonight. And then you were like, I've got to see fucking VIP.
Well, I
thing.
was thinking all you're doing is being out drinking anyway. So just come here then. We've got all this. We've got fucking VIP room. Let's go.
Because Tom is asexual and isn't into things like that. You see?
No, Judd, he's just ugly.
So,
but sorry, Tom, if you ever watch this. No, but what was? No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was because they had obviously dancers in this strip club, and we'll get to more stuff later. This is going on way longer than I thought. They had dancers in this strip club, and I remember you proclaiming, "Bring me your fattest dancer."
That's not what I said. I did not say it like that. That's
how I choose to remember it.
I didn't like unsheath my blade and like hold it to the heavens and say, "Bring me your fattest whore."
That's how I choose to remember it. No, what actually happened was the host of this VIP room said, who was a stripper in herself, said like, we're asking us like what we like, you know, what we're into, and you said, "Oh, I'm into chubbier women."
I said, "Do you have any bigger girls?" That's
something, something like that.
I was very nice and gentlemanly.
You actually were, and it's not the first time you were really gentlemanly in that club, because the first time we ever took you there, a private dancer did you a private dance, and you literally said, what did you say? I forgot what exact line you said.
I can't remember. I said, it was like, "I'm not feeling it," or something.
It was something like that, but it was much more gentlemanly.
Oh, I think it was somewhat terrible. By the way, I was like 18 and I was quite drunk, but I said something like,
I'm just not feeling a connection.
Yeah,
that was
I'm
it.
just not feeling the connection.
Anyway, when I booked this private room, Judd had said he was into bigger girls, and they proceeded to go and line up all the girls who were like bigger girls who were dancers there, and give him a lineup of who he wanted to choose for a private dance. I was like, "Fuck, okay, we are getting the VIP treatment."
It was great. There's probably about five girls in front of me, and this hostess was essentially just like, "Right, pick one." And I was telling somebody this story recently, and essentially it's like, immediately I knew which one I wanted.
Yeah,
but I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
As soon as she stepped around the corner as well.
I didn't want to act like it. I didn't want to be like, "Oh, that one," you know, because like,
it's so fucking weird, isn't it, to just go that one?
Yeah. Because you know, it's like, that's terrible for all the other ones.
Yeah.
But it was very obviously.
Look, what I'm going to say about all this is, we wouldn't do this now, and fucking hell, looking back, it was just ridiculous. I don't know what was going on. That's enough about that. Anyway,
I wanted to follow that up really quickly. Like when I went for my dance with her, she like straight away was like she got me, and she was like, "I really liked how you picked me out of all those other girls," and I was like, "Oh fuck, all right."
Oh, we'll not go any further with that. Just all I'll say is, we regret it, wouldn't do it again, and we don't endorse it.
I'd probably do it again.
I'm not winking. I did wink. It was for comedic effect. I actually meant what I was saying. The joke was the wink. Okay. Glad we've cleared that up. Judd would do it again. I fucking wouldn't.
I'd do it again, yeah.
Judd, this is Halloween. It's nearly Halloween. This is a Halloween podcast time. What?
I am the podcaster who's under the stairs. Cheetos in my fingers and spiders in my head.
Anyway, it's Halloween, Neil. What's your general opinion on Halloween? Do you like Halloween?
I like Halloween, and I like sort of the sort of Halloween traditions that have been brought up around it. But it just doesn't get practiced anymore. And I also, at the same time, get it. Like, I can't be bothered doing anything this Halloween. I'm just staying in. We might have some family over. I think people in England, it's not as big as in America, for a start, is it? Yeah.
And I think people are still kind of recovering from COVID when it comes to like holidays and things like that, and to whether to actually kind of go for it with them.
I realized something the other day. Dune, going to see Dune with you is the first time I've been in a cinema since everything's happened.
Really?
Like with COVID, yeah, that was the first time,
It's-
and I was quite a bit like as I was going in, I was like, oh my god, remember this? Remember
Yeah.
doing this? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the movies this weekend as well for Halloween. But
Right.
I like Halloween. I like it. It's up there with my favorite. I think it might be my favorite holiday. No, my favorite holiday is Midsummer, but I think Halloween is my favorite of this country's holidays because like people in this country don't celebrate Midsummer. I do, but you know it's not actually a holiday in our country. But Halloween is, and it's probably the best one. I like almost everything about Halloween, apart from trick or treating. I don't like it, and you know what? I never have. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like it. I just found it dead awkward just going to people's doors and being like, can I have some sweets, please? I don't even really like sweets that much. I'd rather be playing video games, but can I have some? That was kind of it.
I'll tell you right now, I loved it.
I knew you would love it as a kid.
I loved it.
You would. I knew it. You love going and just like pestering people for free shit. Like, why not?
Yeah, of course. It's like, well, it's like I did acting for most of my life, so Halloween's just kind of like acting, like you pretend to be a character, and then also people are giving you candy. So
You don't tend to feel awkward either, do you? Especially when you was a kid. So,
no. I started feeling more awkward as I've grown up, but not a whole lot. I don't really care still. But definitely when I was younger, I definitely didn't care at all.
We've had to stock up on candies. I remember one time my family went away for Halloween and I had to stock up on candies and do it all myself. And I bought a shit ton, but where I live, it's very family type of area. So there was loads of kids turn up and I ran out and had to start giving kids single mints.
Oh no.
But the thing is, Judd, I thought, right, I was thinking I'm gonna buy loads because I want to be prepared, right? And I did. I bought loads. I thought I'm going to buy so much and I'll have a fair amount left over for myself and I can gorge on, leftover chocolate or whatever. And no, I didn't even finish the fucking mints because there was just so many. But I'm wondering whether this year there's going to be potentially less or more because obviously last year they didn't get to do it because COVID, so no one did. And this year they can, so maybe they'll have more of an appetite for it. But also, people still could be a bit scared of COVID, so they might not want to do it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. The things I like about Halloween, I don't really like decorating my house. I don't really like temporary decorations.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few of them because I like, the only time I would like doing it is for a house party. If I was having a house party, I'd like to decorate it all up, get into the house party of it, because Halloween house parties are the best. They're the best. Now, this is going to sound kind of vulgar, but just go with me. If you are a young person, and you are at a Halloween house party, that's your best chances of getting laid, okay? That's like the best chance you're going to get of a one-night stand, I think.
As long as you're of age.
Yeah, exactly. A young person, but not too young. As in, let's say 18 to 20. That's a good age.
And don't go sticking it in people that don't want it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. But
great.
For some reason, Halloween is one of the times where people just seem to want it more. And they dress in their slutty outfits, they're feeling all sexy, they might want to do a little sexing. I'm not talking about women here, I know some people are assuming that. I mean everyone. All of the genders. All two of them. That's a joke! It's jokes! We don't take any political stance on this. But I love Halloween house parties. I love everyone getting dressed up. I think that because everyone gets dressed up, because it's Halloween, they're already more into the party.
Yeah.
And I think people have like less inhibitions and are willing to just let loose and have more fun because they're already dressed up silly. It's not a big deal anymore, So Halloween house parties are the best. And also Halloween nights out. It works the same way for that as well. Those are the best bits about Halloween. And also, Halloween movies are pretty cool too. I like a good spook movie in and around Halloween. And we're going to the cinema, me and my girlfriend. this Sunday on Halloween. We've booked to see The Exorcist in Penistone Paramount Cinema. If you're around that area, go support the Penistone Paramount Cinema because it's great. It's a really old-timey cinema. They have an intermission in the middle. There's a bar within the actual like screen, so you can just go to the bar in the intermission. And we're gonna go watch that there, and that's gonna be fun.
It's the first Exorcist, then, yeah, because they show old movies, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it is.
They're not doing like another new Exorcist or something.
No, and Judd, you've got far away from the mic again. So.
That shouldn't be too far from the microphone.
That's how microphones work, Judd. You have to talk into them. You can't just talk wherever you like. That's Halloween though.
Like this.
But speaking of Halloween, Judd, it's time for.
That's it.
This is why you are wrong.
I like that whenever I play the intro music for a segment, we kind of just sit there awkwardly and wait for it to finish.
I can't hear it, so I don't know when it's finished. So
this segment is called "This Is Why You Are Wrong." It's where I present Judd with a certain topic, and then he says his stance on that topic, and I try to convince him why he's wrong. Today's topic is to do with Halloween. It's to do with spooky shit, Judd.
All right.
It's to do with a spooky individual, Mr. Timothy Burton. I don't know if his full name's actually Timothy or not.
He's quite a freak. He is freaky individual.
The question is, Judd, what's the best Tim Burton movie? There's some fucking corkers. There's some good ones. He's made a lot of good movies.
I'm bringing them up and just having a look. And just having a little look over, just to remind myself of everything he did.
Okay. The thing is, when it comes to doing movies, I've got a spreadsheet that we've created that helps me kind of just win. Because we've like actually got full stats that like tell me what the best is. So yeah, I think I know what it is. What are you going to pick, Judd? Come on, I'm going to have to rush you for an answer.
Right, okay.
What's the best Tim Burton movie?
I think, for me at least, and I could give a good argument for just overall as well, The Corpse Bride.
Corpse Bride, okay.
The reason why it's The Corpse Bride is because it has such good fucking atmosphere. Like, the human world where you first come into and you first see Victor, I think his name is Victor. The whole like living world is like really dull and grey. Everything seems sort of like dead. And then when you sort of like do go to the afterlife, everything's really sort of like bright and vibrant, and everybody's sort of like let go of the inhibitions, I guess. I just love the fucking atmosphere in this film. I love the character designs. I like how pretty much everybody from the living world looks like an anorexic Victorian. Or that one guy who's very fat. You gotta have at least one fat guy.
Yeah, you gotta have the fat guy to show how skinny everyone else is.
Yeah, and then you've got the dead folk who like have got all this shit going on with like stuff on like their characters that are like sort of indications on how they could have died. So I also really like the music in Corpse Bride. And yes, that's my submission, Corpse Bride. Fuck you. There we go.
Yeah, this is going to be potentially the most difficult one. I'll fully admit that. But so there's three contenders, isn't there? Basically, let's not lie. There's three contenders for this. There's Corpse Bride, as you've mentioned. There's of course The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which on my spreadsheet, I don't necessarily know if Tim Burton actually was involved in that. It doesn't say Tim Burton on it. I think it was Henry Selick, but I'm gonna put it as one of his movies anyway.
I was thinking, did he do Nightmare Before Christmas? Because I was having a look at like lists.
If
of
he
stuff and
didn't,
stuff.
it
Yeah,
was
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
right. Okay, it did then. Okay, good. I've amended the spreadsheet.
That fucked with my head then. I was like,
So there's those two, but the last one in that trio is Sweeney Todd. Now,
yeah, I don't
Right.
I don't know. I do like it, and it was one of my favorite musicals of all time. But I don't know if it's one of his best work.
I'm gonna go with Sweeney Todd, because it shows how it really shows how well he can actually pull off live action things. We've seen Nightmare Before Christmas. We know he can do Corpse Bride stuff really well. That stop motion animation, it's fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. I can't talk any shit about the Corpse Bride. There's not a bad word to be said about it. All I can do is convince you how Sweeney Todd is literally 1 point better, because it is 1 point higher on the spreadsheet as well. It's got an 83 overall rather than 82. So bear that in mind. It does just edge it out. You've got some incredible acting performances. Some of the best performances by pretty much everyone. Have you ever seen Johnny Depp act better than in Sweeney Todd? Maybe Jack Sparrow in the first Pirates of the Caribbean, if you'd like.
Yeah,
that sort of thing,
I don't know. Benjamin Barker is quite a one-dimensional sort of. It's either sullen or absolute rage,
it's
and that's
perfect.
So yeah,
yeah, it's great. The casting's fantastic. Again, what you were saying about the atmosphere in Corpse Bride, it's achieved in this perfectly as well. The music is incredible. Can you name the title of a song in Corpse Bride?
Yes, I can. Oh my god, yes, I can.
Can you name the title of one? You can remember them and give like an idea of what they are, but
The Remains of the Day.
okay.
I think that's what it's called. The Remains of the Day. Did I get it right?
The Day. Corpse Bride. Remains of the Day. Okay, you managed to squeeze one. How many could you name out of? How many could you squeeze out of Sweeney Todd though?
Oh God, loads. Pretty Woman, Worst Pies in London, Epiphany, the Barber Duel, whatever it's called.
We get it. More memorable music, basically, huh? Yeah. It's so that's done incredibly well. The problem I'm having with this, right, is a lot of them are the same. A lot of them, it's like peak Tim Burton. But pretty much all I can give you is that it's a bit more memorable music. It's I think it's more iconic overall. Corpse Bride, obviously, very iconic, but it's not as iconic as Nightmare Before Christmas even, and just Sweeney Todd in general is even more iconic. You were very heavily considering getting a Sweeney Todd themed tattoo. Have you ever thought about getting a Corpse Bride tattoo?
No, that I now I feel like the Sweeney Todd one might be too cringy, but the Corpse Bride one definitely would be too cringy.
I don't know. I think I would potentially get one of both, if I'm being honest. But my point is, there's not much convincing I can do other than to say to you, the music's a tiny bit more iconic. It goes neck and neck with pretty much everything else, and it's just rated a tiny bit higher on the spreadsheet as well. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. It's such a difficult one to do, but it's so rewatchable, that Sweeney Todd as well. It's just great. It's just really good. Yeah,
I've got to say you've not convinced me, but I do agree. I do agree that it is a.
Well, look, I'll take
choice.
the L on it. Personally,
yeah,
I actually do think Corpse Bride is better.
Yeah.
And I've actually got my ratings wrong on the spreadsheet, as in I'd rated it 88 for Sweeney Todd and 87 for Corpse Bride, and I've just swapped those around, and it's made the average overall for them both the same. If I had to convince you then that they were both equally as good, I think I could do it. But
yeah, maybe.
I think they are. I think those two movies are Tim Burton's best, and they are equally as good. And honestly, Nightmare Before Christmas is like just a tiny bit below them both for me. I think it's just not quite. It's just like the tiniest bit below. Do you know what the next one I would have had to go with Batman
Go on.
Returns, which is a lot further down in that rung. That's the Penguin Joker Batman. It's good. I like that movie a lot, but yeah. Do you know what the critics say is the so critics and audience and IMDb? The one that they say out of those is the best is Nightmare Before Christmas, but then next, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, no, I wasn't
Not
too
fun.
into. Yeah, I was never too into Edward Scissorhands. To be
Edward
honest.
Scissorhand.
Edward Scissorhand.
So, yeah, but speaking of movies, Judd, let's have a little chat about Dune, the latest
Let's
Dune
talk
movie.
about Dune.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie. Stupid movie. Do better. That's what I'm going to say about it.
Jake, are we the assholes? Because every review I've seen of this, everybody's enjoying it.
Like,
Like,
what have they been
fans.
enjoying? Like, what have they liked?
They're saying that, like, you know, it's a great spectacle. That's lots of cool stuff to look at, and I just thought most of what we were looking at that was just sand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even the biggest, most dramatic scenery was all sand-coloured. It's the whole fucking thing was sand. I don't know. I completely disagree with that. I don't think it was a big spectacle. And in fact, a lot of the most interesting visual moments weren't big. It were things like, there's going to be spoilers for Dune, I'm telling you now, was like that knife fight at the end. That was potentially the biggest spectacle, and that was a little bit washed about with like weird fast-forward visions, which is 90% of that movie. Rotten Tomatoes at the minute gives it 84, and the audience gives it 91.
Yeah.
What?
People like this movie. People
know.
really like this movie.
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Amazing visuals, compelling story? Compelling story?
I'm telling you, people like this movie. People love this movie.
The story was convoluted, long, and like, things didn't happen for a little while. There were a lot of, like, spaced out, just visions of Zendaya a lot.
For a long time in the movie, nothing really happened. Like, for a long time.
Verified. I'm looking at audience here because I actually give a shit about audience ratings more than critics. Gianna K gives it 5 stars, and they're a verified rater, and says it was a must-see. People fighting in the future without any meetings or strategy, just come as they go, so to speak, even on sand. I loved the selection of character and the music. The music was the worst bit. It was well thought out and planned. I can definitely see a sequel to this one. Well, yeah, it said fucking part 1 as soon as the movie started. Special effects were great. This is the thing, right? I disagree with almost all of that. People fighting in the future without any meetings or strategy. The whole reason they were all fighting was because of fucking strategy. Was she not listening to what was going on? And just come as they go, what? Even on sand? What? I mean, I think
this person sounds unhinged. They sound deranged.
I love the selection of character and the music. So the characters, they weren't. I wouldn't call them bad. I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. Some of them were kind of cool.
I'm gonna say this right now. One character stood out to me, and it's because they were fat. That was it. That's
the Baron
the only
was pretty cool.
Yeah, like he acted kind of cool, but it was like every character just felt like the other character because they all just acted sullen.
Do you know he played the guy who played the Baron in this played Bootstrap Bill in Pirates of the Caribbean, and he played the what's his face, the scientist bloke in the Marvel universe who Loki brainwashes.
Oh yeah.
So let's see what some other people have. So this is one that's called Teenager's Mom, who rated 2 stars. Good enough to intrigue you, so we'll definitely watch the next one, but not very good that we'll watch the one again and again. That's what I think. I think that's a better one. Great special effects. This is a thing. Special effects were, I guess, good fundamentally, as in they looked pretty real and they were kind of pulled off well, but personally, I think the design of some of the things wasn't great. And also there was kind of plot holes behind them. So the design, there was these special suits that are supposed to stop them getting dehydrated very much out in the desert. They were created by sand people, like essentially a race of people who've lived in the desert now. And these suits looked really high tech. And I was thinking, I don't know as I like that design. Maybe it's faithful to the book. I don't know. But regardless, these people shouldn't kind of appear as the most technically advanced civilization there is, because they're trying to survive in the sand. They've not got like a massive tech hub to do things with, you know? So far as I know, I guess. So that design seemed a little bit kind of crap to me. And then the design of the main city on like the planet. Oh, it was awful. This is what we're talking about with everything being fucking sand-coloured. It was the same colour as the entire desert, and you didn't even see within the city or anything. You just saw, like, on top of it, and it was just, like, geometric-shaped city.
Okay, so we've already said spoilers, but there's a bit in it where this city gets attacked, and this city gets fucked up and destroyed. Now, literally, because Jake just said, the city is the same colour as the sand, and the way they built this city is so that no sand would get into the city, so it's all kind of like underground and under stuff. So you can't see anything into it. You don't really see people living in this city. There's one bit where you see like civilians, and they've like come to this main sort of palace bit where like the royal family is staying because they want to see Paul Atreides. I know, like, people won't get that guy's name.
The main character.
The main character. So they, like, came to see him. That's the only time you see people from this city. Like,
yeah.
So when this city, like, gets destroyed, it's like, well, that was nothing. That was nothing to me. That meant nothing to me because we've had nothing to establish this city as like a living, breathing thing. And if there would have been a scene where they would have seen like shown like a big sort of, what if they would have had a scene where there's a character, Jake will know what I'm talking about. The character Duncan, Jason Momoa, when he was sort of introducing Paul Atreides to some of like the customs and the tech that these people have, instead of having it in a shitty little sort of locker room where all the guard were staying, why wouldn't they have a scene where he was like taking him through the market and like showing them this
they had
market.
the budget for it.
Yeah,
they spent a shit ton of it on special effects and shots of Zendaya looking like she's in a Dior advert. Spend it on that instead.
Yeah, they could have had a cool scene where they were like, Paul, like, let me show. It might not have happened in the books, but it doesn't matter. It fleshes out this world more.
Honestly, I don't give a shit about when movies say, oh, well, that didn't happen. It wasn't like that in the books. I don't care. If it's not like that in the books and it's worse, then don't do it. I don't give a shit about what the books were like. Make the movie good.
To be fair, in the books, it might go into the city itself more because it's a big fucking book, Dune.
I would have thought so.
You could cave a man's head in with Dune because it's a big fucking tome, and they probably goes into stuff. But in that movie, they could have, because it wasn't a long scene that they had where he was like explaining some stuff to Paul. They could have had like just a minute or two long scene of them just going through this market,
and just that would have given it so much more life, wouldn't it? Personally, I'd prefer even more. Because, surely that's the point of it. We want to see the world and that, rather than just like fucking sand. I know it's called Dune, but you don't have to all be sand. Okay, so yeah, and there's this one review that says, well, what I will say is that you're on about is kind of one problem with the story. One of a fair few problems that I have with the story. There's not too many, and the story itself is kind of interesting, I guess, but it's not. I don't know, it's not that good. So someone has said, the only thing I didn't like is that there's two parts. They wanted to see the whole story in one movie. Fuck off. No.
It could not have
maybe they could have made it a really fast-paced film, but I don't know, I don't think that'd have worked. One review gave it 5 stars, and the only thing they said was, comedy seemed out of place. What comedy? There wasn't a comedy. And anyway, let's read one more review of this, and then that's it. So Micah gave it 5 stars and says, as a sci-fi fan and Star Wars fan, I'd heard of Dune many times. It wasn't until I saw the trailer for this adaptation that I wanted to delve into its universe. I chose to read the first novel in the month leading up to the movie's release. Okay, so they're going to be biased already, because I think these seem like the type of person that are going to want it to be like the book, whether it's good or not. I watched it first at home, then in theaters in IMAX.
No. What happened with that was, they released this movie out on HBO, Max or some shit, as the same time as they released it in cinemas, because like you say, people are still getting used to going back to cinemas.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we released
So-
it for people to see at home.
So they said, I really enjoyed this movie. Knowing about the characters beforehand and then seeing them portrayed on the screen was a delight. See, this to me is not a good way of judging a movie. That's like, so what they've done is they've read this book and gone, I liked that book, and then they've gone to the cinema and gone, oh look, they're real, and then like, it doesn't mean it's a good movie. The movie's boring though, then, isn't it? Every little moment was had me gasping because I knew what it meant and what was coming next. Ugh. Well, I didn't, and you shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to do a month's worth of homework to enjoy a movie. That's what I'm saying based on this. The visual effects are well done. I won't say they're well done. They look good. The cinematography is beautiful. Is it? It's all sand. And the actors and actresses really inhabited their characters. Jason Momoa sucked. I don't know. The acting other than Jason Momoa was kind of good, apart from one scene, which I'm going to get to last.
But you know when I said to you, in fact, no, I'll wait till you get to that scene if you're going to talk about it.
Another big plot point that I thought was really bad is they have these certain types of shields, right? Where they activate the shield, and any fast or heavy impact thing that hits them doesn't get through the shield, okay? So that kind of explains why in fights and things like that, they use a lot of handheld weaponry, like swords and knives, rather than guns. Because if a bullet hits the shield, it's going too fast, it'll not work. I get that, and I really like that idea. The movie apparently doesn't like that fucking idea, because there were so many times where these swords would whack them really fast, and it'd just kill them. And that's against the whole point of it, so it just didn't work. They tried to make sure that plot point was in there, but they didn't execute it, because the fight scenes didn't do that. So it doesn't even matter in the end. Anyway, so who cares? That's the type of thing, that's the type of point in a story that just makes you think, well, why do I care about any of this then? Because you've given me a specific rule within your sci-fi universe, and you don't give a shit, so why should I? So yeah, I didn't like that bit. And then there was this, but the best bit of the entire movie, right? Bear in mind, I gave this a 44 out of 100, so it's worse than average, but like, it's not a disaster. It's like, I'll probably watch the second movie, but I'm not about to go to the cinema to watch it.
I think I'll go to the cinema to see it, just because I feel like I'll lose some stuff from like the home experience, like from whatever I can get from this.
I would rather watch the sequel like with you sat at home, so we can like comment on it. That'd be my favorite way of watching it, because like it sounds like we really hate this. The thing is, there's a lot to not like about it, but there's like a decent amount to like. It's still kind of a fairly cool sci-fi universe. So, but the best scene for me and the best display of acting was this kind of like lord, like, you know, honourable lady who was inheriting this planet, basically, along with her family, was choosing a new housekeeper. She had a lineup, and she picks this one woman because somehow she knew she was carrying this one housekeeper lady was carrying a special dagger. Then the special house, it don't matter why any of this is happening, by the way. The special dagger is, the housekeeper lady explains she's not gonna attack her with it. She wants to give it to her, and then for some reason the fancy lady does like a hand signal thing to these guards, being like, prepare for violence, there's going to be some violence. There never is any violence. Don't know why she fucking did that. But then, because this fancy lady accepts this dagger, the housekeeper lady, I'm guessing, is overwhelmed with emotion. But the way it was acted was ridiculous. She was just handing it over nice and calm, and then all of a sudden she goes, and then just stops immediately and carries on talking like normal.
So what happened in that scene was she was like, as part of this prophecy that they have on this planet, they say that there's somebody's going to show up to this planet from a different world, but is going to know of their customs as if they were from the planet. Like, it's part of this prophecy to, like, you know, that will lead to the chosen one or some shit, you know, prophecy bullshit. So this woman, when she like shows her this knife, she goes, do you know what it is? And this woman goes, oh, it's the such and such a blade. And this woman freaks out because it's like, that's confirmed the prophecy. Like, you know, that if it's like us being told that, you know, oh, Jesus is real. Like it's undeniable proof that like Jesus is real. That's what happened to that woman. But like you say, it's the way that she acts it is that she finds this out and then goes, oh! Like screams, and she just screams and then stop, and I can't. Every time, this is what I was gonna say. Every time I've watched like a review of this movie, when it's got to that bit, instead of like people going, whoa, that's quit, like me and you did, everybody has looked at that and gone, oh wow, that really meant a lot to her.
Why? Honestly, are we the crazy ones, or is the entire world crazy? Because seriously.
This is what it feels like. This just feels like we're the arseholes, because it's like me and you like looked at each other when she did that weird scream, and we could not stop laughing for like a good while.
When she did it, I literally audibly went like that. I was trying to stop myself laughing. It was like when you're in school and you're not allowed to laugh, and I was just going.
Yeah, I know, because it was ridiculous.
It was out of nowhere, and it don't. Thing is, as well, it don't very well. It don't explain particularly well that that's the kind of emotional significance of that scene. I did kind of get it, but like it don't. It's not very clear, So anyway, that's Dune. It's a bad movie. It's not good, but it's not like a disaster. I wouldn't recommend it.
I will say I have like looked into this universe more, and I like the idea of Dune. Like the idea of Dune is a cool universe.
I said they should have cut out about half an hour's worth of bollocks of like Zendaya like looking pretty on the sand, and like a lot of the main characters like flash forward vision type things. Should have cut out a lot of that, a lot of the fat, and made it 2 1-hour-long episodes of a series, and it should have been just a 1 season long series, and that would have been a lot better. Because they could have even dived into got more detail and more actual interesting stuff rather than just la la la. Oh, and the music. Sorry, I've got to quickly bitch about the music. It didn't fucking stop. It didn't stop. I had a fucking headache by the end of it. It started off with its at the start, and it'd like get quieter and like build up and things like that, but they didn't. It might have technically not had music at points, but it felt like there's constantly some sort of like music bollocks going off in the background. I didn't like it. The music was annoying. By the end of it, when the credit well, it's got sand in my throat, this movie. By the end, when the credits were rolling and that like choiry thing going kind of bit came on, went credits rolling at the end, and we were walking out, I literally felt like turning around and saying, "Shut up! Stop doing that!" And there was points. It shows you how slow it was as well, because there was points in that movie. I told you, because I thought the general vibe in the cinema was feeling the same as us. There was points where they were just blabbering on about stuff, and I just didn't care anymore. I genuinely felt like shouting in the middle of the cinema, "Get on with it! Just hurry up!"
Also, I've found that like something that gets used in that movie always has to be something. Like it has to be some weird sci-fi shit. Like the bit where she's like, "Oh, put your hand in this box," and this main character like puts his hand in this box, and if he like does some weird shit to his hand. If he takes it out, she's gonna kill him. She like holds a knife up to his throat, and she like goes on to explain that the name of this knife, and it's a poison dagger, and the one
it always has to be special or something.
And I just thought, why not just use a regular knife? Like if you stab him in the throat with a regular knife, he's going to die. It doesn't have to be like this super like powerful poison blade. Just stab him in the throat with like a regular knife and he'll die.
Yeah, stop wasting my time spending 10 minutes on a speech about this insignificant dagger and how special it is. I don't fucking care. Anyway, that's Dune. The more and more I think about it, the more I think I should rate it even lower, but anyway, we've got too much to talk about, Judd, and we're going to be... we've got a little bit more time today. Boxing. I've got to mention in every podcast, because I want to remind people, I'm doing a charity boxing fight. There's links in the description of this podcast, wherever you're getting it. You can get it on YouTube for the video version on the Streams Badly YouTube channel. You can see it live at twitch.tv/streamsbadly. You can't get it in the description there, because there isn't one, because it's Twitch. At Tweets Badly, there's some information about it there. Also, I do weekly update videos on that, so you can check my YouTube channel. It's just Jacob Fox, and this podcast is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all other good podcast platforms. So check the description of it, and you will see that you can get tickets to my fight if you're in the Barnsley area on the 27th of November 2021, or you can even sponsor me and help the fight along. And you make me do some crazy shit in my YouTube videos if you do donate that money. But every pound that you do donate to my fight, I will do an extra on top of the normal training I do every single day, an extra 2 push-ups, 2 crunches, 2 star jumps, and run 20 meters, as well as writing your name on my training gloves and giving you a shout out on this podcast. So shout out to J&M, who donated £10 since the last podcast. So yeah, that's going on with that. Boxing training's going great. I've lost a fucking shit ton of weight. But what I wanted to talk about was the latest boxing update video. It's not come out yet. It might be coming out pretty much a similar time to this podcast. I can't remember when I scheduled it. Me and Judd did something, didn't we, Judd?
We did something, yeah. We, as part of one of Jake's donation things, we said we'd find a homeless man and we would box him to death on camera.
Oh, God. No, we didn't do that. I have donation goals on, so for every certain amount of money we reach, I'll do something. So we reached £200, which meant that we were going to do a spicy boxing challenge. This is where I did a shot of spicy sauce, and then me and Judd did a round of boxing, and then I'd do an even spicier sauce, boxing, even spicier sauce, and then some boxing. So we did that. It's pretty funny. It'll be in the update video. The next donation goal is nearly there, by the way, and I'll be jumping in a cold lake in just my pants in the middle of the winter if you do want to donate. There you go. That's all my convincing. What was your experience with that, with our boxing fight, Judd? Because I've been training for a little bit as well, haven't I?
I did. I was terrible. I mean, I've not been doing boxing for ages, ever since it's been crazy at work. So I remembered some of like my technique, but not very long, like for like 30 seconds or something. I was totally out of breath.
You're not talking. You're talking away from the microphone again. How many episodes have we done this? You're literally talking. You've put your head past the microphone and are talking away from it. What the?
That was close enough. But yeah. I mean, you've obviously been trying hard. You were a bit frenzied after the third shot of hot sauce.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was weird how much like boxing distracted me from how much pain my mouth was in and how awful all that spice was. You don't even realize. And no wonder people get like whacked in the face during a boxing fight and are like, "I'm fine," because like. You have to be. If you're not fine, you're gonna get white again. So you have to concentrate. Yeah. It was pretty fucking intense, actually. But I think looking back on the footage, it didn't look like I've made that much improvement boxing wise, which was really fucking annoying. But I think I have. Yeah, that was fun. We did that. That was a lot of fun. That's enough boxing, though. We talk about it all the time. I'll be giving you more boxing updates. Tweet at Tweets Badly if you want to ask me anything about it, or leave it in the comments of whatever you're watching it on YouTube, or I think on Spotify now you can actually answer a question and add polls onto that. So if you want to listen to this on Spotify, maybe have a look at that. I don't know. I've been playing a new game, Judd. I've been playing a game.
What?
I want to tell you about it.
Game? Not Minecraft?
No, I've been playing Control. It's you know the one. It's called Control. One, yeah. It's like a single player. It's what I would call a closed world adventure, where it's not open world, but it's not linear. It's like between those. And it's good, but it's good. It's just good. Is all I can say about it. Yeah. It's not medium. It's better than that. I don't know. It almost feels kind of like something that was supposed to be quite a small game that they were like, ugh, games are bigger than this now. We need to add more like bullshit into it to make it like feel like there's more content. You kind of have like kind of powers, so you got like a telekinesis, kind of this like shield ability, and you can like levitate a bit. And it's got one of those dealios where if you get an enemy to low health, you can brainwash them and they're on your side. You know, all that sort of thing. Very similar to The Force Unleashed. Do you remember when we
Yeah.
played that? Those sort of force abilities? In fact, insanely similar to that, thinking about it. They might have straight up ripped those powers off of that game. You use this, like, cool gun that really reminds me of Dead Space. You know, like, kind of the, like, transforming gun type of thing?
Yeah.
That you use that. It has different kind of modes. You get, like, little perk drop pickups. It's kind of, like, RPG-ish in that way. The story of it, because that's the big thing with a game like this. The story needs to be good. It's presented in a really cool way. It's one of those, like, secret FBI type of things. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like a kind of like I guess the X-Files kind of did that sort of thing where it's like, you're not supposed to know about these, like, supernatural phenomenon, but it's really cool and kind of shady, this kind of organization that's involved with them. That's quite cool. What I don't really understand is the main character. Do you think you'll ever want to play this game?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's not good. It could have been potentially good enough for me to say you should probably play this. It's quite good, but I don't think it's good enough for that for you. So I'll just tell you the story. I've not finished it. I think I'm close. So the story is this girl called Jessie has turned up at this bureau to try and find her brother because when they were young, he was kidnapped by them. And when they were young, and I think he was, you find out he was kidnapped by them because they found this event thing, this kind of supernatural event happened, and they kidnapped him, and she managed to evade being kidnapped. So she turns up, and some, like, weird shit happens that you don't understand, and then this guy has shot himself in the head, and then you become you're the CEO of the bureau now. Jessie's the CEO of the bureau now, and she's just kind of, like, okay with this. And I was like, oh, okay. She don't really have too much emotion behind any of it. And she's trying to find her brother, but also she's trying to save this bureau who she kind of hates for kidnapping her brother. And I think she's trying to save because this is another thing, because there's this, like, what she calls the hiss. That's like a supernatural thing kind of fucking up this bureau. And she happens to have turned up at this bureau to find her brother at the time this hiss is happening. And the interaction she had when she was young with her brother ages ago, that meant that this bureau took him away, meant that she's less affected by the hiss. So she's trying to save the bureau so that she can find her brother. But she finds a brother, and he's, like, kind of infected by the hiss. So she needs to kind of, like, deal with it so that she can help him, but then she's in charge of the bureau still. I don't know. It's like explaining it, and actually, if you think about it too hard, it's like, I don't know, man, this story's a bit weird. It's just a little bit too fucked, but kind of experiencing it, and especially how it's presented, it is kind of weird, but you can definitely tell you don't think about it too hard, and it's quite cool. So I do like it, but what kind of threw me off is there's a big side quest, and you find out it's actually tied into Alan Wake. Remember Alan Wake? Remember that video game?
I do. Alan Wake? What the fuck?
Now, I never played Alan Wake because I was a bit young when it came out to have played a game like that. But I looked up an explanation of the story so that if they were particularly tied in together, I would at least know what's going on in the universe, say, if I wanted to continue playing it. And I watched a detailed explanation of the Alan Wake game story, which is probably a really good way of understanding it rather than actually, like, trying to experience it, because someone's, like, explaining it to you. And I don't know, I have no fucking clue. Not a clue. No fucking clue at all. That Alan Wake story is just insane. More convoluted than Dune. So I don't know. Alan Wake's part of it. I don't fucking know. But what it does have is these, like, side objectives. So you can kind of, like, it's almost got, like, daily quests, you know, where you have to kill a certain amount of this type of enemy in this part of the area with this weapon, and then you get, like, a little perk that you might already have. You know, it's got those sorts of things that just feel like you're putting those there to try and make this game have more content than it has. But it's not needed. It's got quite a bit. There's a fair amount of side missions. There's, like, something I don't like about it that's been the biggest annoyance for me is it goes from, like, medium-level casual shooter kind of power combination thing with some kind of difficult enemies to being fucking Dark Souls at certain points. And it pisses me off. There's no difficulty selection. You can't change the difficulty. That's just how hard it is. And it's like certain bits of it are just way harder than others, and it's just annoying. It becomes... I think they sometimes do that to flesh out the game more, and sometimes people find that exciting because they're like, yes, I've overcome a challenge. But to me, especially when most of it's a lot easier, that's boring. I've settled in for a game that's I'm not gonna die very often. Sometimes I might. I'm gonna experience this story and find it quite cool and find it a little bit of a challenge. But then sometimes you ramp up the difficulty so often that I die maybe 20 times in a row on this bit, and I'm just thinking, I'm bored. Because all I'm doing is dying. This is fucking boring, you know? So there's like that. So I don't know. It's one of those games that it's like, if you're into those sorts of games and you like those sorts of settings, maybe give it a go and you'll have quite a bit of fun, and it's going to cost you about a tenner at this point. But it's not essential. That's my review of Control.
Cool.
I will be completing it, and I'll probably, because I've got a bit of OCD for these things on, I realise you're not supposed to say that, but fuck it. Because I'm a little bit of a stickler for these things when I play these sorts of games, I'll probably do all the side quests as well. Unless, do you know, when I play these sorts of games, I try and do all the side quests, unless it gives me side quests after the main story. In a game like this, I'll be like, nah, I'm done now. You finished your story, I don't care. I'll look it up on the internet, what happens. But that's Control. It's a game that's been out a while and no one's interested in it.
Nah.
Have you got anything else, Judd? Anything else you want to tell me?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered it.
Right. Well, next week I've got some shit planned, Judd. Believe it or not, so you don't have to do anything. There's a couple things that will take up a decent amount of time, so we should be all right for that. But I wanted to do a bit of a soppy shout-out. Like, we don't do this very often in this podcast, or ever, to be honest. But I wanted to do a genuine shout-out to you. Judd, you. Not the audience. To you. Like, this is going to sound... As a 90s bully would say, this is going to sound gay as fuck. You know, that's what they'd say, wouldn't it? Because they didn't know that you can't say that.
What is this? You can't be...
I'm genuinely thanking you for going along with, like, a lot of bullshit that I come up with for, like, all the time. Like, I was thinking with this boxing, I asked Judd to do some stupid shit for, like, pretty much just my benefit, and you go along with it, like... a lot of the time, and
yeah,
all I'm doing is like really appreciating it, basically, including this podcast.
Okay, well that's fine. I mean, it's just something to do in it. It's just a bit of a laugh.
Well, and yeah, I love that about you. It's fantastic. It works great for me. Yeah. So yeah, big shout out to you. Thank you for many years of being my punching bag. It's great, and this is the end of that, and I'm never going to speak to you again. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
He's also thinking, thank fuck for that. No, I'd say it's a joke. Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing it. That's that. That's the podcast. Bye.
Okay.